Fish this weekend? Mr. Brown was catching fish this weekend. You did what? Oh. Oh. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Hey, before I forget, I want to introduce you to Dr. Rome. You're going to take us both fishing. You're going to take us both. I'm going to see if you're any good. Okay, it's officially 7 o'clock. You can roll tape again there, JCTV, and we are at just after the consent agenda. No bids over $50,000. Moving into bills introduced. First reading of 23-1379, please.
An ordinance amending the code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by amending the amount of required fluoridation of the water supply to conform to new Department of Health and Human Services standards.
Mr. Matt.
Thank you, Mayor. The clerk indicated this will just modify the city code to take out an exact limit of fluoridation to just reference the Health and Human Services code for fluoridation.
Okay. Any questions there? 2013-80, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Stanley Mehrhoff for lease of ground at the Jefferson City Memorial Airport.
Matt.
Thank you. Again, as the clerk indicated, this is a ground lease at our airport. It's with Mr. Mehrhoff. He has had a hangar there for some time, and this is his lease renewal. It renews at the standard rate per square foot. It will generate just over $1,700 a year, and it escalates at 3% per year. It's a 5.5-year lease term with ability to renew 3 additional times.
Any other questions for Matt? Seeing none, we'll have first reading of 2013-81, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Fisher Grain Farms for an agricultural lease for airport and wastewater lands.
Matt.
Thank you. Again, as the clerk indicated, another lease at it's north of the river for our airport property and wastewater property. The main point of this lease is not only to gain some income for the city, various divisions of the city, but also it's a area where we deposit the sludge from the wastewater plant, and so that is one of the main reasons we have this ground. It's a 1-year contract with options for 4 renewals, and over the 5-year period, it will generate just under $500,000.
All right, any questions for Matt? Seeing none, first reading of 82, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a contract with Midstate Pipeline Maintenance, LLC, to construct the Algoa Regional Treatment Facility disinfection system.
Matt.
Thank you. This is a construction contract, as the clerk indicated. It's with Midstate Pipeline. We'll put our new UV disinfection system in at the Algoa Lagoon. The contract's just under $350,000. This would need to be installed by next April to meet our EPA mandates for bacteria removal.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, first reading of 2013-83, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending Chapters 1, 17, and 25 of the City Code pertaining to Old Town District, neighborhood reinvestment, facade improvement, and the Community Development Block Grant Programs.
Janice.
Thank you, Mayor. This is our Omnibus Neighborhood Reinvestment Bill. It reorganizes the Old Town codes that are scattered throughout the code and moves them all to Chapter 25. That's the only thing that's changed about them, is that they're in a new location. The second part of this, Article 4, currently contains references to housing rehabilitation guidelines for a program that was previously administered by the city. This bill would update that section to reflect the policies and procedures of our Community Development Block Grant Entitlement Program. And those policies would be adopted annually by resolution of the council.
Okay, any questions on 83? Moving on, first reading of 2013-84.
An ordinance amending the code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri pertaining to demolition permits.
Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill amends the demolition permit regulations that pertain to buildings over 50 years old by requiring the application to include interior photographs. This was requested by the Historic Preservation Commission. They feel that that would better enable them to expedite those applications that should be expedited and to advise the property owners on expectations regarding their buildings and possible reuse of materials.
Okay. Nothing to tell me what kind of art I can or can't have at the house if Darla doesn't like it.
No.
Okay. Well, someone may think that when they see interior photos. So. Moving on, first reading of 2013-85.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri accepting and approving the final subdivision plat of Stone Ridge Village subdivision, Section 3, a subdivision of the City of Jefferson, Missouri.
Janice.
Thank you. These next two bills came before the Planning and Zoning Commission in September. First one, Stone Ridge Village, Section 3. This is the third section of this particular subdivision and represents an extension of the infrastructure of Stone Ridge Parkway and Hard Rock Drive. This is the plat on the screen. This was the preliminary plat on which you see the one lot that's being platted with Section 3. It contains a little over 19 acres, and all of this is Zone C2 General Commercial. The streets will be extended to a new roundabout, and sidewalks will be constructed as part of this development as well on both sides of Hard Rock Drive and along the east side of Stone Ridge Parkway. On the west side of Stone Ridge Parkway, a 10-foot greenway or super sidewalk is being planned. And this is the location in relation to the other existing development in that vicinity. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You mentioned Greenway. Is that something that the developer is building, or is that something that's planned by the park system?
I believe the developer is building that.
And will that attach to existing Greenway?
Eventually.
Eventually.
It'll be eventually when the streets are all connected down to West Edgewood. There'll be a connection.
Thank you.
Any other questions there on 85? Well, first reading of 86, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving a special exception use permit for construction of a superstore big box retail development upon 15.19 acres of land addressed as 849 Stone Ridge Parkway, described as part of the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 10 and part of the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 11, Township 44 North, Range 12 West, Jefferson City, Polk County, Missouri.
Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I mentioned, this bill also came out of the Planning and Zoning Commission with their recommendation to approve it on September 12th. The subject site is indicated in the diagram with the blue coloring. It's part of a very large retail development occurring in Stone Ridge Village. Our zoning code requires a special exception use permit in order to construct a superstore big box retail store that exceeds 100,000 square feet of gross floor area. The proposed building in this plan contains over 136,000 square feet of floor area. It also includes a separate gas station. It's another view. The exhibit boards are on display outside in the foyer for those that are interested. Special exception use permits also require a public hearing, and the public hearing is scheduled for the next council meeting, which is October 21st at 6 p.m. in the council chamber.
Janice, when do they intend to start building? Do you know? Or better yet, I guess I could ask, when do they anticipate being open?
I don't know. We can ask the engineer or the architect. They happen to be here this evening. I would assume that they would start construction fairly soon after their plans are approved and this special exception use is approved. They've
Would
also
it be
supplied
prior to
building
Christmas
plans.
of 14, you think, or not? Would it be prior to Christmas of 14, you think, or not? Sorry to put you on the spot, I know. Thanks for coming, by the way, and please give us your name.
Good evening. My name is Rob Klimple with SGA Design Group. We're based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am out of the Bentonville office, 105 Northwest 2nd Street, Suite 307, Bentonville, Arkansas, 72712. Upon approval of this, we plan to start the construction documents within about a week. That takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the construction documents and coordination. Out to bid of the project would be probably presumed March, April of next year at the latest. And then construction takes about 10 months. So if you add all of that up, it would be very close, but not quite probably to the 2014 Christmas time.
Okay, but near that time. Thank you very much for your input. Appreciate it. And if you would, could you leave a card before you leave tonight? I have a couple other questions I'd like to ask you another time. Any other questions on 85? Janice, did you have anything else on that one?
I would like to point out that we have a number of design standards that are in our zoning code. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed all of those standards in relation to the plan that was submitted. There are two areas that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended deviations from the plan or from the code. One of which at the rear of the building. This is an elevation. At the rear of the building there on the east property line, a buffer yard is required. This happens to be between this particular site and the Menards site. Planning and Zoning Commission and staff agreed that that was a wasted effort to put landscaping buffer yards in between those two buildings. So the recommendation was to take that landscaping and scatter it around the site, and so that's what this plan reflects. And in addition, the parking demand for Sam's Club is a little bit less than what our zoning code requires, and so we're going with the specific findings of the Sam's Club parking demand, which shows that they require 549 parking spaces, so that's what this plan reflects.
Okay, anything else on 86? All right. Janice, thank you, and thank your planning division for all they're doing. And welcome to town, guys. Glad to be here. Next, first reading of 2013-87.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Aaron's Contracting Incorporated for the demolition at 601, 605, 609, 615, and 711 Mulberry Street project.
Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a long-awaited project that we believe is going to happen. The third time is the charm. This would authorize a contract for $278,000 with Aaron's Contracting to demolish the buildings at 601, 605, 609, and 615 Mulberry. All of these buildings are in the floodplain. In addition, the contract includes demolition of a single-family residential house at 711 Mulberry. And all of this is being financed through a state of Missouri hazard mitigation grant through the state's CDBG program. And I'd also like to point out that under the consent agenda, you approved accepting an additional $125,000 in grant funds to help accomplish this project.
Any other questions for Janice on 87? Any other questions for Janice? Carlos.
Janice, was Aaron's the lowest bid?
Yes, they were.
Okay, and if once they're awarded this bid, how long will this process take as far as demolition?
They're going to be issued a notice to proceed shortly after the council approves this, and I believe they have 60 days. But I would also like to point out, I really appreciate the help of the engineering division in putting the contract and bid documents together for this project.
Okay, moving on. Matt, do you have your answer there?
80 days.
Okay. Any other questions or follow-up? Mr. Carlos? Any other questions or follow-up? Good to go? Anybody else? Okay, moving on. We'll have first reading of 2013-88.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri relinquishing portions of a certain easement for sanitary sewer purposes in conjunction with the Mount Hope Heights subdivision and located on the property addressed as 2625 East McCarty Street.
Matt?
Thank you. As the clerk indicated, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's a vacation of a sanitary sewer easement that's no longer needed. The sewer's built in a different location, and a new easement's been granted for it.
Okay, any questions there? Moving on, we'll have first reading of 2013-89.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a development agreement with the Jefferson City School District for right-of-way infrastructure and other related considerations in the area of Frog Hollow Road and Mission Drive.
Matt?
I believe that's 90, and 89 is the STP agreement. Is that, I can do either one, but I just
You
want
do,
to make
once
sure.
you do 90 first, we'll go back to 89.
All right, I will do that. The as clerk just read, it's an agreement with Jeff City School District for our Frog Hollow Road project. Basically, this is a agreement between the two entities to obtain the right-of-way for our road project out there. We anticipate once this is done, we're putting the bid documents together here very quickly, and the county will be actually letting this project. But within this agreement, it sets out they'll dedicate right away at no cost to the city. We'll be building the road and inspecting it, and that it also clears up some of their site issues if for any future project they may have there, such as building fees, things of that nature, cooperating with us on various greenway projects and other road projects. It was passed through the Public Works and Planning Committee for a couple different times, and this is the result of that.
All right, any questions? All right, we'll have first reading of 89, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for STP urban funds.
Matt?
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this is a grant agreement with MoDOT. The grant amounts just under $800,000. The city would be receiving on this project. This is for the Stadium Jefferson Monroe Street area project that is not only to help the interchange and traffic flow better, but it's also in support of the Capital Region expansion project. The grant agreement sets out the cost and our matching requirements, which is 20%, but we will exceed that easily. It's been planned as a city-county project, as I had indicated. Also sets out some time frames and scheduling that would occur with the project to receive the money, and we'd recommend approval.
Okay. Next, we have number 91, which I also see we'll do first reading first.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending Section 3.5 of the Flexible Benefit Plan for city employees as originally adopted by Ordinance 12181, as most recently amended by Ordinance 14725.
Okay, and I see here, Gail, you want us to vote on this tonight, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is it a motion to suspend?
Yeah, if you get a first and a second, then it's I'm sorry. Unless two people object, the rules are suspended.
Okay, in other words, there is a motion, it takes two to bring it up?
I think the way we've practiced
Or I just simply ask?
You just ask.
Okay, it's not every day we do this. Does anyone have a problem with us suspending the rules on 91 and voting on that tonight? If you do, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. So now the rules are suspended and we'll have third reading.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending Section 3.5 of the Flexible Benefit Plan for city employees as originally adopted by Ordinance 12181, as most recently amended by Ordinance 14725.
Gail.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance amends the city's flexible benefits plan. The flexible benefits plan essentially is what stipulates the employer's share and the employee's share of our health insurance. So each year when we get our new rates for the coming year on our health insurance, we amend this plan to reflect those increased or decreased rates. This year we are looking at a 6.1% increase in our health insurance premiums, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the resolutions. But essentially, this ordinance will break out that 6.1% to the employees and the employer. For the city, it's the cost of about $178,000, and that is in the budget for the 2014 fiscal year. So it fell within the 10% that was put into the budget. And we are asking for a suspension of the rules because we need to be able to get these rates out to the employees. We have a lot of employees who have spouses that work for the state, and the state is doing their open enrollment right now. So if we can suspend the rules, we can get that information to the employees. That gives them some time to be able to make their decisions on what they're going to do with their health care so that their spouse can get their open enrollment completed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Gail, when is your open enrollment actually over here?
Our open enrollment actually is the beginning of December.
Okay, so you have a pretty long one compared
We
to
do, but
a
we
lot of-
actually, it's kind of a lengthy process. So we start, our employee meetings actually will start on October 22nd, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow, where we'll go around and meet with every employee group and give them all of the information, the detailed information. And they start their enrollment then for the wellness program. So in the month of November, they are doing their health risk assessments and their blood draws for the wellness program. And then those that participate in that, then we know if they're participating when open enrollment is the beginning of December. So even though the beginning of December sounds like a long ways off, we're really busy between now and then leading up to that process.
Okay, any other comments or questions of staff on 2391 as we're going to vote on it here in a little bit? Carlos.
Gail, is this 6.1%, is that strictly for the employees portion, or is that the employees and the city's percentage together to make the 6% increase?
It's both. It's a
both.
total, 6.1% for everybody.
Okay.
And Gail, while we're here, it may be coming up later, but just so the council knows, I know during the budget session, my budget, along with the council's budget, stated a 10% increase. Mr. Wilbur said earlier the increase is 6.1. Can you explain what your intention is, along with our interim administrator, for the remainder of that amount up to 10% and how that works?
Sure, that's a great question. The 10%, the difference is going to be spent on the self-insured deductible. Mr. Wilbur's talked about how the deductible is going from $1,000 to $1,500. The employees are picking up a portion of that increase, and the city is picking up a portion of that increase. So that remaining almost 4% will pick up that increase. So it does not free up money that can be spent elsewhere.
True.
I was just going to say that as long as I'm temporarily here, that will not be touched, and I promise you that we will not pull any money out of that. It will only be used to cover those deductibles, because we won't know for sure how much we need until the very end.
Right, and I'm assuming there'll be a way to look at that throughout the year so you know what has come out of it in case we need to allocate more.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. All right, Bob.
I think you probably already alluded to what my question was going to be, that Mr. Wilbers did say that there is some certain amount of risk, maybe not very high risk, but there is a potential that we could need to allocate over and above that amount if we would be especially hard hit by a large number of people hitting their maximum. Is that correct?
That's correct. We actually, as he mentioned, typically 16% I think is kind of the average of the amount of risk that people pick up. He was recommending 20% as our minimum to budget. The difference between the 6% and the 10% is actually a little bit closer to 30%. So we feel very confident that we have enough money in the budget to cover even if we have a really bad year.
When you refer to 30%, you're talking about a 30% cushion.
No, 30% total of the risk. So really, if his recommendation was 20%, so really we have about a 10% cushion.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions over here? I have one other agent, no other agents or insurance guys. Did you have any questions, Sean?
No, I'll just make a comment that I asked Mrs. Stroke to include a monthly report with the Finance Committee's package of reports that we get
Okay.
to show on a monthly basis where we are at with regard to the self-insurance portion of the insurance, so we can
Monitor.
monitor that on a monthly basis.
Great. Good idea. Okay, any other comments on 2013-91 or debate? Otherwise, we will vote. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Bray,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have first reading of 2013-92.
an ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2013-2014 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by reclassifying a position within the Public Works Department.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was actually started with a pink sheet in our budget, and at the time, it was recommended that the staff take it to Administration Committee and take it out of the budget and go through a different process, so that's kind of the result here. Basically, it was talked about at the last Administration Committee meeting, but it basically just reclassifies two positions at our in our parking division, the maintenance worker and the enforcement officer. It would make those positions more closely follow other positions in the cities that are similar in class, and I think the net effect to the budget of the parking division is a little less than $200. And of course, that's a utility fund of the city. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions of Matt on 92? Seeing none, we'll have third reading of 2013-93, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2013-2014 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by reclassifying a position within the Planning and Protective Services Department.
Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would reclassify an administrative technician position to a neighborhood services specialist position. This is needed due to an increase in duties and responsibilities of the administrative technician. This person currently works in our community development block grant program about 50% of the time, and also serves as our recycling coordinator. And I would also like to mention 50% of the salary is grant funded, so the impact to the general fund is less than $2,600 per year.
Okay, any questions on 2013-93 for Janice? Okay, seeing none, we'll go into bills pending. At this point in time, we have third reading of 2013-75.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, accepting and approving the final subdivision plat of Loggy Ridge Subdivision, Section 2, a subdivision of the City of Jefferson, Missouri.
Sean? Oh, I'm sorry, Rick, my bad.
At the request of the developer, I'd like to put this, I move to put this on the informal calendar.
Okay. And that's pretty much all it takes, right? And while we're here, third reading of 2013-76.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Section 19401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule J, Parking Prohibited, Subparagraph A, Streets and Highways of the Code of the City of Jefferson pertaining to Trenton Court and Tanman Court located in Loggy Ridge Subdivision, Section 2.
Mr. Mahalovich.
Again, at the request of the developer, I would like to move to place this on the informal calendar.
Okay, so it is. Next, I have 2013-77. Filling in for Mr. Betts tonight is Chief Roger Schrader.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing the disposal of said property.
Chief.
Thank you. As clearly stated, Bill 77 declares two items of city-owned property as surplus and then authorizes the disposal by either sealed bid or auction. The first item is a 2010 Crown Victoria patrol car. It's not an addition, it's a replacement from the vehicle that was previously listed. And the second item is our old UPS in, I think, third week of August. We replaced our universal power supply with a new system, much needed, so obviously no need for the old system, and that comprises the second item.
Okay.
No cost to the city.
All right, any questions there? Seeing none, any comments? Roll call, please.
Bray,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scribner,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have third reading of 2013-78.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with the Jefferson City Hangar Association Incorporated for a ground lease at Jefferson City Memorial Airport.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As clerk indicated, this is another lease at our airport. It's a, basically a 20-year lease, if you will, for what we term the South Hangar, or the Jefferson City Hangar Association is who it's with. But basically, the lease starts at $3,000 a year for the first 5 years, and then it has a 10% increase after those each 5-year period. The agreement was discussed a couple different times at the Public Works and Planning Committee and recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? Mr. Schulte, I know you had a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Due to a conflict of interest, I need to abstain from further discussion and the vote on this particular bill. Thank you.
All righty, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any other comments or debate on 2013-78? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Abstain.
Scribner,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have the informal calendar. Mr. Hilpert, 2013-46.
We still await a response from the FTA, so the bill's just going to have to die, and we'll bring it back if we get an answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Resolutions at this point in time. Need a first and a second on Resolution 2013-26.
Second.
Clerk, if you could give us a quick description, please.
A resolution authorizing an acceptance of the proposal with Commonwealth Specialty Insurance Company for property insurance.
Okay, any questions there? Gail, I think, is going to tell us more about that. If anyone has questions there.
Thank you. As we said with the resolution, this is accepting a proposal with Commonwealth Specialty for our property insurance. It was a very good renewal. The value of the renewal, the cost remained the same. The actual premium is going up a little bit, but that is because we've increased the value of a couple of our properties. But otherwise, it's actually a flat increase. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on resolution number 26? Any questions on resolution? Seeing none, any questions? Roll call, please.
Carroll,
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scribner,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Next, we'll entertain a motion and a second for resolution 1328, please. Entertain a motion and a second for resolution 1328, please. Gail.
Thank you. This is an agreement with Guardian for a couple of our voluntary benefits and our dental benefits. We currently are with Guardian for these plans. Our dental insurance is looking at an increase of about 6% this year, but there are no changes at all to the plan. It's an identical plan. The vision insurance is also an identical plan, but the rates are changing a little bit, and actually the majority of them are decreasing by about 8%. And that is a voluntary benefit that's purchased by the city employees. And then our critical illness with cancer plan, that plan also is not changing at all, but they are changing to a 4-tier structure. Right now we're at a 2-tier structure, which is employee only and then employee and if they add anybody. So it really is kind of an employee family rate. Even if they only add one person, they would still pay the same thing as somebody adding a family. So they're just restructuring those tiers for us. Otherwise, the plan is the same, and that is also a voluntary benefit that's purchased by the employees.
Okay. Any questions of staff on 28? Okay. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, any debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Graham,
Aye.
Seeing none, roll call.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scribner,
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
And motion passes. Next, we'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2013-29.
So move.
It's been moved and seconded. This is in regards to our United Healthcare group coverage. Gail, any additional comments?
I can brief you a little bit on the changes if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Okay, the health insurance, as mentioned, this resolution is for an agreement with United Healthcare to continue our health insurance for next year. We've already mentioned that the premium change is about 6.1%. As far as some of the plan design changes, Mr. Wilbur's talked a little bit about the deductible. Right now we have a $1,000 deductible where the employees pay the first $350 and the city picks up the remaining $650. That is going to a $1,500 deductible with the employees picking up the first $500 and the city picking up the remaining $1,000. In addition, the office visit copays are increasing from $20 to $25 for a regular office visit and from $40 to $50 for a specialty visit. The urgent care copay is increasing from $50 to $75, and the ER copay is increasing from $150 to $250. In addition, we also, Mr. Wilbur's talked about the copays are going into now the out-of-pocket maximum. So the out-of-pocket maximum is also increasing by $1,000. So quite a bit of additional cost, potential cost going in to the employees. Unfortunately, a lot of this plan design was put in to bring those premium costs down. So.
All right. Gail, Drew, did you have something? I'm sorry. Any other questions for Gail on 2013-29? Seeing none, any debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll ask for a motion and a second on 2013-30, please.
So move.
Henry and Carlos took the honors on that one. Clerk, please.
A resolution authorizing the city councilor to notify the city of St. Martin's of its intent not to renew the wastewater agreement dated August 24, 2007, and invitation to negotiate on a new agreement.
Drew.
I just noticed how flawed that title is. It should be dated May 1st, 1989, but I'll explain the intent there. City of Jefferson and the City of St. Martin's entered into a wastewater agreement, which is dated May 1st, 1989. And essentially what it provided for is that the residents of St. Martin's received the same base rate as the residents of the City of Jefferson City. And in exchange, we treat their wastewater through our sewer plant. And, we really can't explain exactly why that agreement was reached, but it was. But in any event, it will expire on April 30th, 2014. And what staff would like to do is notify St. Martin's that we do not intend to renew on the same terms, but to initiate some additional negotiations. This came up a couple of years ago and fell apart for a couple of reasons. But the agreement is, it's not clear that it would automatically roll over. I just don't want there to be any confusion. And if we notify them now, that gives us really plenty of time to renegotiate a new deal. I think the one reason for us to negotiate with them is that they are continuing to annex further closer to us, and they're right up to Binder Park. And I think ideally, my guess is we'd rather not have Binder Park completely encompassed by St. Martin. So there's some incentive for us to offer a better deal than the rest of the county. But I think we need to do some negotiations on that. So this resolution just authorized me to let them know that.
Any questions of staff on 30? Bob?
The current agreement does have a provision in it that we could buy that sewer plant for $1.
That's correct. We could buy the infrastructure for $1, and we would assume their bond payment. And it is true, if wish Eric was here and didn't ask him to be, but I think we could actually absorb that, spread it out over all the ratepayers, and it would be a very, very nominal increase. But the converse is probably worth saying, that if St. Martin's didn't come to an agreement with us, then they would have the highest rates in the county, because they'd be paying the same. They'd pay 3 times the base rate just as every other county resident, but they'd also have that $13 a month bond payment that they pay.
Okay. But have we, I mean, I'm sure that has been determined as not in our best interest necessarily to assume that.
It's probably not. I mean, you know, accepting additional infrastructure, you know, it's of the infrastructure that they own, you know, it's still very old, and we don't necessarily need that. And so we could do it. It would be relatively cost neutral for us, but it's probably more advantageous of us not to.
Carlos, did you have a question, sir?
So currently, there is no contract between St. Martin's and the city.
We do. We have a contract that has been going on since '89 and will expire next year.
Okay.
We don't have anything pending for renewal yet, though.
Okay. So when would you start to enter those discussions?
Well, I think we'd notify them. Their attorney is a notable attorney in town, so we'll start talking to him pretty soon, see if we can work something out, and give plenty of time to the council, hopefully, to, you know, before April 2014, to have plenty of time to debate
That was
it.
my concern, make sure that we give them enough time and just don't springboard on them at the last minute.
Yeah, we would start soon.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion on 2013-30? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Drew, I think that motion passes, by the way. I think at the beginning of this meeting you meant to make a motion or ask for a motion.
I did. We
amend
needed
our
to
agenda.
I'd ask you to amend the agenda to allow for an additional resolution 2012-31.
And how do we amend?
Well, I think someone would just need to make a motion to amend the agenda to add resolution 2013-31.
We would entertain a motion to do such. First and second. First by Rick, second by Schulte. Is that you over there? Okay.
Then a voice vote.
And a voice vote. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we'll be discussing resolution 2013-31. Clerk.
A resolution confirming the city's support for the reservation and redevelopment of the historic Missouri State Penitentiary site in Jefferson City.
Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was we discussed it on Thursday, and it's certainly common knowledge that MSP's tours are closed and that needs some work to be done. And the council wanted to send a signal to the state how important that this area is for us. So the resolution recites the historical value of MSP, some of the recent problems, and that we believe preservation and redevelopment is a necessity. And so it's probably worth just reciting the therefore. So now therefore be it resolved that the council hereby confirms the city's support for the preservation and redevelopment of MSP and requests that the same be a priority for the state of Missouri, and authorizes the council authorizes the mayor to communicate this resolution to the state of Missouri. So our intent is hopefully we can get our state lawmakers to really jump into this thing with both feet. Let's fix MSP, and maybe this is an opportunity to really get something going there. So that's our hope and our goal. And I believe it's actually sponsored by every council person, so I feel really good about the chances of me getting this one passed.
No tea leaves today. Okay, any questions on this one? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please. I think we had a motion to adopt, or do we not? Oh, I'm sorry. We need a motion to adopt 2013-31 first. We did the other one.
I'm sure Phyllis is right.
So moved.
Ralph and Ken? All right. Now roll call, please.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, number 18, council and staff discussion of presentation topics. Down third base. First base. New business. First base. Second base. Third base. Carrie?
Thank you. As councilmen, we often get calls and concerns and suggestions, and typically I would email these out, but since I got this one today, I wanted to just mention it to Bill Lockwood for Parks, that I had somebody come in and ask about keeping the pools open, the swimming pools during the summer beyond 5 p.m., perhaps one night a week until 8 p.m. So I wanted to mention that to you. Typically I would sit down and email it and copy our city administrator or copy Drew Hilpert on that. But whenever we get a concern like that, I thought it might be interesting to for the rest of the council to hear it as well, and you may get those concerns. It's from a First Ward resident, and they did mention or called Branch, so you might have gotten that already. You may have already passed it along. I don't know if they contacted Prather or not, but I said I would be sure to communicate that. So it sounded like a reasonable request. If the demand is there and people would use it, then you might be able to actually fund the lifeguards and whatever other costs are associated with keeping it open. So if you would want to consider that, and maybe let us, or email me and let me know, and I'll get back to her. Thank you.
All right, anything else tonight, Carrie? Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Carlos.
Since we're
also
on
known
that,
as my 4th Ward councilman, along with Miss Carroll.
since we're on that one, I was contacted by Mr. Ron Jordan, who has a business over on in Hyde Park, and he said with the new sidewalk that we put in, that's connecting Hyde Park to Heisinger to Missouri Boulevard, it is very dark on that Heisinger road right there. And I did ride by there last night, and it is very dark. So I don't know who's responsible for maybe putting in a light or two in that area, but it is extremely dark, and it is a safety concern that I have. So I don't know who, Matt, would that be you?
Yeah, I can look into that.
Okay, thank you so very much.
All right, anything else under 18? All right, moving on. I think we have no new business, correct? Drew, I believe, has unfinished business.
I sent out an email to the council and wanted to announce it publicly here. We've got a finish line on the conference center. I'll give you a little timeline. We have 2 more closed session meetings set up, one with the Farmer Brothers, one with the Earharts. They want to talk some potentially specific points that they would need in the contract and maybe point out some of their strengths. After that, the final and best proposals will be due November 8th. Well, let me back up. Those meetings will should involve the facilitator by telephone. The developers ask for 2 weeks after that meeting to trim up their final proposal. Final and best proposal will be due on November 8th. We would then have public hearings on the 12th at noon. We'd make that for as long as we need, give everybody 5 minutes. If the council members during the day cannot come, we will broadcast those and stream those, so you'll be able to watch those when you're able. Then on Thursday the 14th, we have an evening public hearing. We'll try to limit that to an hour, 5 minutes a person, with the same rule that if you spoke before, you get priority when you speak once, but a second time you're going to be at the bottom of the list. If there's time, we'll let you. And if not,
could there be different questions than last time?
It'll be an open mic.
Would be out?
Okay.
In
theory, what'll happen is you'll be able to say, I like the Farmer proposal, I like the Earhart's proposal, or I like no proposal at all. And I suspect we'll get a mix of all 3. The council would then have a closed session with Charles Johnson on the 12th. I was able, since my email, to confirm he would be there. Originally, I talked about the 11th, forgetting that was, or not realizing that was Veterans Day. I should have. But that would be an evening meeting for the council at 5:30. He will then give you his professional opinion about which contract you ought to pick, or which proposal to pick, and some of the contract terms that we need to have in it. Then on November 18th, which is a regularly scheduled council meeting, we would have the decision by the council. I would anticipate we'd put it at the beginning of the agenda under miscellaneous proposal. And my thought is that someone would make a motion to accept the Farmer proposal, and you'd vote, or the Earhart proposal, whichever you want. And if that fails, you'd go to the next one. If that fails, I would think it would be best to have an affirmative vote and just say, or in any order, of course, say that to reject both proposals, so that we would be clear to the public exactly which course we've chosen. Again, we'll have JCTV at all the public meetings. We'll post notices and notify the media. And we'll, of course, notify the developers as well. And it's been a long process for everybody involved. So I think, we're at the end of really just phase 2, which is if we choose a developer, a lot of the hard work actually starts, because then we get down to details and pictures and contracts. And so we're at the end of this stage. So we've got 2 people on the dance floor, and we got to finally pick one or send them both home. We've got some public input processes, and of course, the public can always, as you all know, call you directly or email you here, and we'll send it on. There's council meetings where they can certainly talk about if they like at the end of the agendas, and you'll get plenty of input if you haven't already. And we'll try to take this next step.
Okay. Any questions for Drew? Drew, thank you very much for not just trying to get the developers, Mr. Johnson, but ourselves and your staff all on the same page on these meetings. I think so far you've done a great job with that, and we definitely appreciate all the extra work that you're doing at this time. Okay, and at this point in time, we will entertain a motion for approval of our September 16th, 2013 closed meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Rick and Ralph. Discussion, seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Bray,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
All right, at this point in time, that passes, by the way. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening.